On a quiet morning inside Ravenhill Federal Penitentiary, a shocking discovery was made. Special Agent Veronica Hale of the FBI was found dead in her prison cell. The news sent shockwaves through law enforcement agencies across the country. How could a federal agent, trained, experienced, and once respected, end up murdered behind bars? Veronica Hale wasn't a rookie. She had been with the FBI for nearly 10 years and had built a reputation for being one of the agency's most capable field agents. Known for her sharp instincts and tireless work ethic, Hale specialized in organized crime and human trafficking cases. She was often praised by her peers and had even received several internal commendations for her work. Born in Michigan and raised in a law enforcement family, Hale always knew she wanted to serve. After graduating with honors from law school, she joined the FBI Academy and rose quickly through the ranks. Her early career was marked by long hours, complex investigations, and a strong sense of justice. Many described her as focused and deeply committed to her mission. But in early 2024, something changed. Hale was suddenly taken off active duty. Rumors began to circulate that she was involved in a controversial undercover operation that went off track. Then, just months later, she was arrested on charges of obstruction of justice and evidence tampering. The FBI remained tight-lipped about the details of the case. Hale, for her part, insisted she was innocent and claimed she had been set up following her arrest. Hale was transferred to Ravenhill, a maximum security facility usually reserved for dangerous criminals. Her defense team filed several requests for her to be held elsewhere, citing safety concerns. But those requests were denied. She was placed in a high-risk unit and kept under standard supervision. According to prison records, Hale had only been at Ravenhill for 18 days when she was found dead in her cell. The official cause of death was blunt force trauma. No security footage captured the attack, and no inmates have come forward with information. The warden described the incident as deeply disturbing and confirmed that an internal investigation is underway. The FBI has also launched its own inquiry, though some critics argue that it's a conflict of interest. Others believe her death may be connected to her last case, one that was reportedly focused on high-level corruption and international crime rings. Her family is demanding answers. In a public statement, her sister said, "Veronica dedicated her life to protecting others. She didn't deserve this. We need the truth." As questions pile up, many are wondering whether Hale's murder was simply a tragic act of prison violence or something more deliberate. Was she targeted because of who she was and what she knew? Could someone on the inside have wanted her silenced? This is the story of Veronica Hale, her rise through the FBI, her sudden fall from grace, and the mysterious circumstances surrounding her death. It's a case that challenges everything we think we know about justice, loyalty, and protection within the very system meant to uphold them. In the next section, we'll take a closer look at the events leading up to her arrest and the secrets she may have uncovered before her life was cut short. To most of her colleagues, Special Agent Veronica Hale was the definition of professionalism. She had built a reputation over nearly a decade as a determined investigator and a skilled interrogator. But behind her impressive record and polished demeanor, there were signs that something was wrong, signs that many either missed or chose to ignore. Veronica was assigned to an undercover operation in early 2023. The case involved a suspected international money laundering network connected to organized crime in the U.S. and overseas. The operation was risky and complex, and it required deep infiltration. Hale went undercover as a legal advisor for one of the shell companies believed to be laundering money through fake real estate deals. For months, she lived under a false identity, gathered evidence, and reported back to her handler. Her reports were detailed and promising. It appeared she was making real progress. But in late 2023, things began to unravel. A key informant she had been working with disappeared. Shortly after, an internal review of the operation raised concerns. Evidence was missing, surveillance logs were incomplete, and some of Hale's reports contained discrepancies. The Bureau launched a quiet internal investigation. Then, without warning, Hale was pulled from the case, suspended, and told to turn over all of her materials. Weeks later, she was formally charged with obstruction of justice, falsifying evidence, and unauthorized conduct during an active operation. According to the charges, she had allegedly destroyed key documents and communicated directly with targets of the investigation without proper authorization. Hale denied everything. She claimed she was being framed, possibly by someone inside the bureau or even by the criminal organization she had been investigating. In private messages to a friend, she wrote, "They don't want the truth to come out. I was getting too close to something." Her legal team argued that the charges were vague, the evidence circumstantial, and the investigation flawed. Despite these claims, the case moved quickly. She was denied bail and ordered to remain in custody at Ravenhill Federal Penitentiary until her trial date. The judge cited the seriousness of the charges and potential security risks. Hale's attorneys objected, stating that her past work and threats against her life should have made her eligible for protective custody or an alternative holding facility. Inside Ravenhill, Hale was kept in a high-risk unit. According to prison records, she made several formal complaints during her short time there, citing harassment, surveillance, and fears for her safety. In one incident report, she told a guard, "They're watching me. This isn't random." What made Hale's case so difficult to understand was the lack of clarity about her intentions. Was she a rogue agent who crossed the line, or was she a dedicated investigator caught in something much bigger than herself? No clear motive was ever provided by the prosecution. Some believed she may have developed ties with individuals she was investigating, while others suspected she was uncovering internal corruption that someone didn't want exposed. Her story raises troubling questions. How does an agent trained to enforce the law end up accused of breaking it? Could it have been a setup, or a mistaken judgment made under pressure? And most importantly, why wasn't more done to protect her once she was in custody? By the time her trial date approached, Hale was already gone. Her murder behind bars left a trail of unanswered questions and growing suspicion about what really happened during those final months of her life. In the next section, we'll examine the night of her death, what the official records show, and what may have been missed in those crucial final hours. Veronica Hale had only been in Ravenhill Federal Penitentiary for 18 days when she was found dead. Her body was discovered in her cell at 4:06 a.m. by a correctional officer during a routine check. According to the official incident report, she had suffered multiple blunt force injuries to the head and upper body. A ligature mark around her neck suggested strangulation. The scene was grim and disturbing for anyone familiar with how high-security facilities operate. What makes her death even more troubling is the fact that her unit was under 24/7 surveillance. Yet somehow, the cameras near her cell had reportedly malfunctioned just hours before her death. The prison claimed it was due to a routine system failure, though no formal maintenance request had been logged. For many, that detail raised a red flag. In the hours leading up to her death, Hale had reportedly spoken to a prison counselor. According to that counselor's testimony, Hale seemed anxious and on edge. She said she felt targeted and repeated her belief that someone inside the prison was trying to intimidate her. She didn't name anyone specifically, but mentioned that she believed her identity as an FBI agent had been leaked to other inmates, a serious threat in any prison environment. Autopsy results confirmed the initial findings: blunt force trauma and asphyxiation. There were no defensive wounds on her hands, suggesting she may have been attacked in her sleep or caught off guard. No foreign DNA was recovered under her nails, and no fingerprints were found on the ligature. The official cause of death was ruled a homicide. Despite the severity of the case, no arrests have been made. Multiple inmates and staff members were interviewed, but no one came forward with useful information. Some claimed they heard noises from her cell, but assumed it was nothing unusual. One inmate who was housed 2 cells away told investigators that Hale had kept to herself and didn't interact much with anyone. The lack of eyewitnesses, combined with the missing security footage, made it nearly impossible to identify a suspect. Some prison staff privately suggested it could have been a targeted hit, ordered by someone outside the facility. Others believed it may have been an act of revenge by another inmate connected to one of Hale's past investigations. Still, there were no solid leads. A few weeks after the incident, An internal FBI task force was assigned to assist the Bureau of Prisons with the investigation. However, critics pointed out that this was the same agency that had arrested Hale, raising concerns about objectivity. Public reaction to Hale's death was swift and divided. Some saw her as a disgraced agent who met a tragic end. Others viewed her as a whistleblower silenced before she could speak. Her family issued a statement calling her death a failure of the system at every level and demanded a full independent investigation. So far, that request has not been granted. As of now, her murder remains unsolved. No official explanation has been given as to how an experienced federal agent in one of the most secure prisons in the country could be killed without warning, without evidence, and without accountability. The unanswered questions continue to grow. Who knew her identity in the prison? Was someone inside helping to cover up the crime? And was her death truly random, or part of something larger that she uncovered during her final case? What began as a case of criminal misconduct has now become something far more complex and unsettling. Veronica Hale's death is not just a tragedy, it's a mystery that still demands answers,